Meeting to order. Griggs County Commission, October 5th at 1 p.m. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Excuse me. Roll call. John.
Here.
Dale.
Here.
Mark.
Here.
John.
Here.
Troy's here. Are there any additional corrections to the agenda?
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
The move by Dale to approve the agenda as presented. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by John. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Take a look at the minutes from the meeting on the 21st.
Motion to approve.
Moved by Mark to approve the minutes from the September 21st meeting as presented. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? See none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Sure somebody's explained this to me before, but how come all these budgets in the back are under or negative?
Those don't have a budget, like, I don't have a budget amount in the system.
Oh.
Any taxes that come in, they just go right
I see.
out. Yeah.
Okay. So they'll always be negative?
Yep, yep.
Okay. Shouldn't there be a number in there? Or not? No?
No, they're in and out account.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
well,
But wouldn't you get a firmer number on what percentage of taxes haven't been paid if you?
I have that on a different
that's
report.
Oh, okay.
separate,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay.
This way you don't ever run into the problem of trying to carry over something in that budget, because everything comes in and spent, so it bounces right to you.
Yep. Every month, the taxes that we get for those things, they just go
I
right
knew
out.
they just
Yep.
slid through here, but.
Yep, yep. And then we have an uncollected report that would tell you, like, what percentage hasn't been paid for each year and stuff.
Right.
Yep.
And that's really how we should handle, like, that House bill money and the Senate bill money, that should actually be in a separate budget account. It's just an in and out. And we have to deal with some of this.
It was interesting when we had that Griggs Nelson Health District meeting. I don't know if it's true or not, but according to the numbers that they had there, Nelson County's got like 8% taxes that aren't paid from last year or something.
8?
Oh, wow.
I thought it was a big number.
Hmm.
It was a little more than twice what ours was.
Yeah.
a little protest going on up there, or what's the?
Well, they said it was one township, right, or something? There's something going on up there.
Isn't that having to do with the land that got inundated?
No, I didn't
Stump
sound
Lake,
like.
and they were protesting paying the taxes on stuff that's underwater?
I don't think so. I think it's over further east of there. The inundated stuff does get taken off, doesn't it?
Supposed to,
Yeah. I think so.
if it's agricultural land, because it's non-productive.
Well, it's just like the river isn't, my stuff isn't that.
In Cooperstown Township, we even took off 16.5 feet from center to road. That acre
Oh,
on
did
each
ya?
half mile.
Did we get a budget, a final budget for 19?
No, you guys had one. Did you? Do I need to run it off again?
Probably.
Probably. Okay.
Whatever you-
Okay.
You're not talking about this one, you marked an 18 budget.
Yeah, the eight. No. Yeah.
This might be the one.
Yeah, that's probably the one.
Yeah, but it should be 19.
Right,
But
yeah,
if
yeah.
we did it, we're doing it in 18, this budget.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yep.
Any questions on the bills?
Then I have it.
Okay. I can get another one too.
Move to approve the bills as presented.
Been moved by Sean to approve the bills as presented. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mark. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale? Aye. Mark?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carried. Office report.
Indeed for the. Oh. Oops. Want to see what, after you look at it, let me see it.
Move to approve the office reports as presented.
Been moved by John to approve the office report. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mark. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
We're ahead of schedule, so I can let the
Courthouse hours. John?
elected officials know.
This has kind of been your little project. No Jamie today?
No, he's in court up in.
So these three lots, Samantha?
Yeah. Oh, those in the back for the,
So these were, there's a sheriff's deed or something that,
there's 5 of them. There's lots 3 and 4, block 11.
Jesse,
Lots 11, block 12. Lots 1 through 3, block 6. Lots 5, block 11. And then lots 17 through 20, block 37. So there's 5 of them. These are the properties that went up for back taxes or delinquent taxes for 3 years. If they weren't paid by October 1st, the county took possession. They do have between October and November 20th, that's our tax sale, to pay all 3 years. And then they can get the property back. What I need from you guys is I need you to establish a minimum bid price to be advertised. In the past, you guys have done the taxes owing plus 1 more year, and that's what's I have on here if you wanted to keep that.
Are these empty lots or property?
Some of them do have a structure on them. I'm not entirely sure what else is on these. I'm not sure.
Do you have a city map?
The city.
Got one off this sheet.
Huh?
Yeah, you can get it quick.
Yeah.
See if it's
City of
Gotta
Cooperstown.
make sure. Gotta make sure.
This City of Cooperstown one is that
It's the Leonard Trosted house.
that
Oh, okay.
oh, the one up here?
No.
Where are we at?
No.
Over here?
they're over there. Yeah.
Da-da-da-da.
The county.
Yeah.
We figured it out.
Well,
Thanks.
they need to-
Okay. Oh, man, and we all knew that's the sad part. That's why.
Yeah, so that's that property. So this is the bid price that you guys have put on the past. I do need to get this in the paper for 2 weeks.
Okay, you need a motion?
Yes, please.
I move we have Samantha publish the notice of sale of real estate forfeited.
As presented. Been moved by Sean to publish the notice of real estate forfeited as presented in preparation for the tax sale. Is there a second to the motion?
So moved.
Seconded by Mark. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale? Aye. Mark?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carried. Okay. Department heads, courthouse hours, time clocks.
Yep.
You guys started this discussion when I was
Yeah,
on it.
yeah, so we started this discussion when you were gone, and the discussion was how we're gonna keep the offices open from 8 to 4:30. So there was always someone in the office during the 2 15-minute lunch breaks and over noon. And there was a Attorney General's opinion that stated that, yes, the county commission had the ability to do that, they just could not be specific on how it was going to be done. So in other words, we would instruct that the offices be open from 8 until 4:30. Then it would be up to the department heads, if they were able. I mean, of course, if the office is only open 3 days a week, and it only has one person in there, it can't be open over noon, it can't be over lunch breaks. Same with the other offices. If you don't have an assistant in there, there's no way you can be open over noon and in the lunch breaks. But if possible, so the two of the offices or one of the offices, 4 days a week, it would be able to be open full-time. The other offices, when they have an assistant in there, would be able to be open full-time. The sheriff's department would be, from a little research, the sheriff's department is classified, most of their work is done outside of the courthouse, So they have other means of contacting the sheriff's department. They would just have to use their best judgment. So it is nothing more than whether or not the county commission wants to impose this 8 to 4:30 hours, and then it would be just to recommend that Jamie drop a resolution to that point, and then at the next meeting, that could be voted on.
Connie?
Yeah.
We'd like to recommend another option. Most of the businesses in town have their lunch from 12 to 12:30. So if we stayed open until 12:30 every day, closed from 12:30 to 1:30 or 12:30 to 1, and then of course if we closed at 1, we'd have to close the courthouse at 4 because you only pay us for 7.5 hours a day. Unless you wanted to start paying us until 4:30, whatever, but that's another option, is to be open still from 12 to 12:30 every day.
And we did take a look at the other departments, because we thought, maybe there was a good solution we could come up with. And the social services, they do half-an-hour lunches, and they get paid for 40 hours a week. Road department's half an hour, they get paid 40 hours a week. Sheriff's also gets paid 40 hours a week, so, we looked at it and tried to stay consistent. We could do the, 12:30 to 1, and then, like you said, either close at 4 or stay open till 4:30, do 40 hours a week. And then we're still staying within that 12 to 1 realm where most of the world, knows, they're used to us being closed during that time frame, and then we're available again at 1 o'clock. So that was another, we're the only ones, I guess, that aren't 40 hours a week, and all the other departments do half an hour, so we thought, we could do that. We all talked about it, and thought we could just do half-an-hour lunches at, close at 4 or stay up until 4:30 and do 4 hours a week.
That would be an expense to the taxpayer, though. The solution that I proposed doesn't cost the taxpayer any more dollars. The taxpayer gets more services for the dollars they pay, and it's not an imposition on the employee or the elected official because you're not working any more hours. You're just staggering your lunch breaks. I don't understand why this is opposed. It shouldn't. This should be a no-brainer. It's easy. It doesn't put an imposition on anybody other than somebody might have to eat lunch a half hour later or a half hour earlier, and you can't all be in the break room at the same time. And I don't see the problem with this.
This was just a consistent situation, a consistent idea that we had where we're consistently, as far as the offices that are, 4/5 or 3 days a week, those are shifting and alternating days. So, I think that creates conflict if, it said, we're open, and then, you have these offices that are shifting. Chrissy's 4 days a week, but it's not the same 4 days a week. So that's why we tried to look at a resolution that was consistent for everyone.
My idea when we talked about this was really just to give people access at noon. Well, what would happen if we just posted that by appointment? We'd leave everything the same, except just by appointment during that hour at noon. If someone wishes to come in, they can call the office and make that appointment.
We kind of are doing that. Yep.
Because I don't think we're talking about a large number of people that are.
But Mark, we're talking about letting the taxpayer get the maximum service for their dollar, and this is not an imposition on the employees or the elected officials. They're still working the same hours. This is just absurd to me that this would be opposed. It's just a minor little inconvenience, at the most.
In offices with 2 people, it should be no problem
Right.
whatsoever.
And we're not saying that an office that has 1 person, that they can't have a lunch break and they can't have the two
Sure.
15-minute breaks. So I just don't see, I don't see why there's opposition to this other than for the sake of opposition.
I guess my feeling for that is that when I'm the only one in my office and the courthouse is open till 4:30 and I leave from 12 to 1, then there is nobody there. The person coming to see me is not getting their full, you know,
I think
taxpayers.
it just creates greater conflict, having the, you know, not,
Confusion for the public.
not having a consistent pattern. Right now, we have a consistent pattern. I don't think it's opposition just to be opposing to it. We got together with everyone and said, let's come up with a better solution here that doesn't create conflict or confusion for the citizens, where they know these are over here. So we thought, you know, like we said, we looked at the businesses, and there's a lot of businesses that are, you know, lunch from 12 to 12:30, and, you know, we could shorten that, you know, lunch break, and like I said, either close at Fulham, or still doing the 37.5, or be open till 4:30, get paid 4 hours a week, and then we're accessible to the taxpayers an additional half hour. Which the other departments are, you know, 40 hours a week right now.
But the departments that only have one person are still gonna have to be closed over noon, and they're still gonna have to be closed for the 15 minutes lunch breaks. So that really didn't do anything.
It does if we're all taking lunch at,
12:30 till 1:30.
Yeah.
But why do that? Why not have somebody, if they're driving by the courthouse, say, rather get an appointment or wonder if it's open, why shouldn't they be able to just walk in there?
I mean, they could, but
Yeah, it's the same
It's
thing with
just
another
not
business.
consistent.
They usually have their lunch hour, they're closed. Law offices,
Post office.
post
Yeah.
office, yeah, they know.
For
I think
example.
they're-
I know. It's frustrating when you go there and you think they're open at
Well,
1.
I know.
But you realize comparing this to a private entity is a different thing. The
Yes.
private entity gets to determine whether or not they want to be able to earn revenue during those hours that they're closed. This is not the case. This is where the taxpayers are paying for a certain amount of hours a day, and I think those offices should be open if they want to come in. And again, I just don't see, I don't think this is a big imposition on anybody.
I think
And
if both offices had 2 full-time people, it wouldn't even be an issue.
it's still not an issue. We're not saying that the office that doesn't have full-time people they'll have to be shut down. That's the way it is, but we'll get the
So
most
what's the
use.
purpose of changing it then?
So that we have people in there
'Cause there's
over
only
noon,
one office
so that
with
we
2
have
full-time
people over
people.
there over noon hour, and then so we have people over there during those 2 15-minute breaks. Now, Kelly, the only reason I can see to oppose this is if we're not getting the full time being put in that's supposed to be put in. That's the only reason I can see to oppose this. Well, that's logically, that's the only thing I can see.
We're just trying to come at this for a logical standpoint and try to create as little amount of frustration for the citizens, a consistent pattern that they can rely on. And right now, we have that. If we cut it down to a half an hour lunch breaks, you know, we're available that 12 to noon, which is when a lot of people have their lunch break, so.
Give me a piece of paper, tell me what hours your people work, and I can make it as consistent as you want. We can post it, here's the days when the offices are open for all day long, and here's the days where they aren't. That is
Every week.
consistency.
It's different every week. It shifts during the week, you know.
Why? So you mean we let the part-time employee pick what day they work or don't work?
Absolutely, we work around their schedules. Absolutely, it's 4 days a week. If I need her on this day because we have something big going on that day, you know, then she'll take a different day off that week. Absolutely, it's not 4 consistent days. Just like the people that work 3 days a week, it's not 3 consistent days. It's what suits the office. It has to be what suits the office and what
Then make a
conflicts and
schedule of
things
that.
we
Then
have.
make a schedule of that and post it.
We have a schedule but it could change daily. That's why I think we need some consistent pattern. That's why we were just trying to come up with a solution that is consistent. I guess I don't see a problem with the 12:30 to 1 o'clock. I think that's a great solution.
I'd make a motion that we have the offices open from 8 till 4:30. And let the offices that can comply, the offices that can't, don't. Post the hours and we'll put it in the paper.
Second.
Been moved by John, seconded by Sean, that the offices remain open from 8 in the morning till 4:30 when possible. Meaning if there's two people in that office on that
Right.
particular day, I think.
Correct. And Jamie will draw up a resolution for this.
Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye. Okay.
Motion carried. Okay. Wayne,
Last meeting, we talked about fixing up or extending the county shop in Brentford. so
what's
that-
her, Connie, you looked into that for us, didn't you? The city owns those lots, or how? Or
Yeah.
Brentford, there's how
Yeah, we
many? of them?
talked to the city, we talked to.
Oh, how many lots are there?
3.
And it sounded like they would be willing to lease or sell or up to a certain point, and I don't remember what the dimensions are
I see.
of the lot.
So there's 3 25 by 120s there or something?
Yeah, they'll be shorter than that because they want to keep where the old fire hall sits. So they'll be 25 wide by 100, or maybe 75 deep. So
I can't picture in my head all that six.
I think they run east and west.
they run east and west.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Oh,
So then the three are on the end. We kind of get half of it.
So if here's the whole block, and here's the alley, this is north. That nearly new store is here, the bank building's here. Livestock building is here. Here is the
Old fire hall.
old fire hall, and then the county shop.
Oh, it's, okay. Sits across.
Here's the
there.
line somewhere in there. There's a power pole right there. So what they would sell or lease would be this right here.
I see.
And here's the road.
So that old building doesn't take up, I mean, it's quite a ways from the street. East
This
of it.
sits back here about, there's a drainage, there's
I
a
mean-
culvert that goes underneath it, right, Lynn?
I mean, it's a long ways to the east corner.
This is kind of out of proportion.
Oh,
If we took this building out, we could turn this building east and west, right, Wayne?
Yeah.
But the way it sits right now, we couldn't get a 60-foot building in there, so it's a little bit out of proportion. So, but we could, I think, get the building in here. Leave the old building there
oh, really?
and get another one in there, right?
Yeah, there's enough room to put a 40-foot wide building there.
Cause you don't really wanna own that old building, do you?
They own it now.
uh,
The city doesn't own it. Well, I suppose technically they do. They own the land underneath it, so technically there's no lease agreement, so they do, but they wouldn't, well, maybe they want it, I don't know. Maybe they need storage, but.
Cause there's not much left of it, is there?
No, I had Cash and Carry go up there, and Wayne Anderson, the contractor that's gonna do our building up here. And we looked at it, putting a piece on the end and whatever, and they said, I don't really think it's worth putting a bunch of money into this building.
Cause it's a Gothic arch building, right?
Right.
Wood rafters?
No, it's steel, isn't
This is all steel.
It is.
it? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Steel.
But it's got a lot of holes in it, and the back wall's been hit and all bulged out. But it might be fine for, some kind of storage if it sat there and put a building beside it. As long as we're never gonna put any money into it, when it finally was done, it was done, we get it down.
So does Lennis own to the east of our building? Does he own all the way out to that same point, that Highline pole, or that?
Well,
Is that-
I don't know for sure, Connie, maybe you could, so you're talking about, they've got those other buildings here that, there's a building here and there's a building here. You're talking about from this pole here, does he own this?
Yeah,
Don't know.
that part.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't appear like he does because he always quits parking the buses right here. And he quits he parks them in here. But I'll find, we can find out.
You know, see if we can-
Well, that's not gonna work.
We could probably get by with a building of 56 feet versus 60. That would make a
I
difference.
don't know, but 4 feet's nothing. I mean,
You know, that's probably what it
Once
costs
you're doing it,
the land.
it's costly.
cause right now you can't fit in there if he's got the packer on there or the plow,
Right.
right? And he's always got one of them on there.
Yep. So in the wintertime is when it got balls out in the back.
What's the existing length of the building?
Existing is 40 feet, 3 inches, I think.
40 feet.
40 feet.
Probably
4
41
inches.
feet now,
Pardon? 43 feet now, in that one area.
4 foot up in the air.
Yeah, a little dog.
At ground level, it's still 40 feet.
Little doghouse in the back, huh?
Yeah. And last time we figured adding 16 feet onto it.
Sure.
56. So the inside of the Cooperstone shop is 52 feet 6 inches.
Okay. And you fit in there fine.
He fits in there, he takes his plow off every night though.
Oh, really?
They both, you know, Matt and Jake will take their plows off
Okay.
every night.
So it's right.
Is that like a 3-point hitch on?
You pull 2 pins, yes,
It's got like a quick tat.
it's a quick attach.
Okay.
It's got 2 pipes go across.
Oh, okay.
And then the hooks go over the top and then the pins keep it in place.
Sure.
Maybe, I mean, that's not a, it's not a curve.
Well, what's
Parallel,
the
they call it.
additional amendment?
Here's Main Street in Binford.
It's almost like a combination between a 3-point quick
Just
catch and a
block
hook. It's
five
quick
Yeah.
catch.
Johnson's what?
I don't know.
Johnson's
I know we talked about concrete and
block
Yeah.
5.
it'd be nice to
I've
have
got
water in the
quotes here, I've
tank.
got quotes. And
Yes.
Yep.
what they recommended was instead of putting up a regular pole barn type, they said put up a stick.
So I think.
Because if you put all the poles and spread them out, you almost have a stick
I'll
build.
bring up flat.
And you take and you pour a slab and then you put the building on top of the slab.
I know that's what Westmeisters likes to do.
Do they?
Well, but it's way more expensive.
So I had them quote both the stick building and,
Post.
but they went into just their computer and their past experiences to get similar type buildings. So the building is 4 feet longer for the second quote that he did with
But the concrete floor would be 25,000, I'm sure.
19,000 for that.
Yeah.
But they put 8-inch thick, and I don't think it's gotta be 8 inches.
Concrete?
What?
So, first quote,
Oh, yes, more.
cash and carry lumber for 40 by 60 stick building was $28,075
For just the
for
building,
the materials,
okay?
$12,500 for the labor. Concrete rebar and labor of this guy out of Daisy, I think is where we contacted, 19,000. 8-inch thick with thickened edges. It says no apron in front of the building.
Yeah, you'd have to have thickened edges if you're gonna build a stick building. You don't need to if you're putting up a pole barn.
That total was $59,575.
Right.
So then I said, well, could you quote just a regular pole building, because that's what we were talking about earlier, and so we went back in, and then in the amount of time that he had, he just took a 40 by 64 building is 24,598 versus 28. The labor would be the same, and then no cement or no concrete. So that total was $37,098.90.
We should get some more quotes on, from guys that build pole buildings, I think. So I built a 30 by 50 barn. I had Fertile Builders do it. It was like $13,000.
Yeah, they said, well, there's cheaper buildings over.
Yeah, I think he's right.
So in the building fund, after all our shop and all that, there's $39,888.25 that we left.
Okay.
So is this
Yeah.
two, that's two.
The one year they were up there, we looked at our
It's
outside
one-
doors, our
it's
two
50
walk-in
by
doors, and the
140.
ones with the holes rusted through.
And the city only has
So
the
I
best
have
half
full-
of it.
In town here?
Yeah,
So
in
they
town
have
here.
70 by 40.
Two walk-in doors would be $475.
Yeah, this part here is the old, is a fire hall.
They're
But
commercial,
that's-
they're
No,
commercial
that's
doors?
the-
Not the commercial
Yeah.
doors. but
I wouldn't buy a door
Yeah.
that's not a commercial door for
And
that
it's
shop.
Dennis.
I don't think.
Yeah, a lot of in and
All
out.
10, Linus Edlund.
You know,
Like breaking in stuff.
Huh?
So this is
Breaking in.
No, they just stand up better. Even the doorknobs are 10
No, it's not
times
from the center of the
better.
street, it's from.
The
No,
commercial
it's for
ones that are
where
residential ones.
Griggs is.
Well, generally.
I
they
can't
go
remember what
from
he
the-
said
the
about the
center
price of
line.
the
I
commercial.
think it was just about twice as much.
40 feet.
40
and then
feet.
So instead of $800
But there's
or
a monument
$900 or
there.
$800.
Yeah, because they got a marker.
So it's
Says right
possible.
here.
But I think, like you
It's
said, I think
possible
you're getting a
that
lot
this
more
is
for
40
your
feet
money.
from center of the street here.
I mean, they were there.
Yeah.
Right.
This one
We
is
had to put the
66.
doors in, then we got
So
every,
this would be 33 feet. from
33 feet from here.
Mhm.
Okay. that-
The one is
that
rusted
makes
through
sense. That makes
On the
sense.
surface, on the outside, pretty good.
Okay, thank you, girls.
Starting two in the top.
Okay, so there's only 50 feet.
Do you need this anymore?
50 feet on, from the south side. Going up.
Yeah.
Fifty by 80?
70.
70. So if here's the block, and we will have to put the rest of that stuff in here, here's the alley. It's this here. And this is,
That lot's only 50 feet deep?
yeah, by
Yeah,
70.
north and south.
Really?
70, you said, so this one is,
Mhm.
it's 55 then.
70 by 50.
Right, 70 by 50, so this one must be 55 by 50.
No, 70. They have the east half of the lot.
Right.
They're 140 foot
And
deep?
they're 140 by 50.
140, so they're split down the middle,
Full
50,
lots,
okay.
right.
So anyway, there's, and then Kelly thinks and Connie thinks that it's 33 feet from the center of the road to this edge, and that probably looks about right, Wayne.
And there's a pin in there.
There's a monument here, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
right in the corner.
Yeah. We can find that. So that might not be big enough.
But there's gotta be another vacant lot in Bedford, North Dakota, isn't there?
Could be one in Jesse.
I was just gonna say there's some in Jesse.
We talked to Ken, and he was gonna look into it, see if what was around.
Take the pay litter and make one.
Yeah.
So if you moved that old building, you could put the building in
Yeah,
east and west.
take it out of there. If
Yeah.
it's bad enough shape, it's only gonna get worse.
And you could come out of there and there'd be plenty of room, then you'd have an easterly facing door rather than the south, but that doesn't make much difference.
and we could move that to Cooper and put our salt inside of it.
I don't think it survived.
It'd be
the trip.
leaking. I don't think it would stay together.
How does it get put back together when it's in the back of a dump truck?
Yeah.
I think the only way to move those buildings is take them apart.
Yeah, and this one's so rusted out. It'd be bad.
Well, I could advertise for quotes, if we're gonna go ahead with it. Or if we could carry the money over, I don't know if you can carry the money over to next year.
I think you can transfer it into a building fund. Can't you, Connie? A budget, I mean, couldn't we create a building fund and then transfer the money in there so it gets out of it, comes off this year's?
Carry over?
Budget to carry over.
I think you can do that.
I think you could do an amendment to this year's budget, decrease that, and then just roll it into the building fund. It wouldn't change the overall budget of what we'd levy, it would just switch monies. Because I have that we're going to spend 100% of that building fund in the budget right now, so if we just decrease that and move it over.
Oh. Or we could, yeah, no, if we put bids out and got a bid, then we could put it into an escrow account, whoever's building it. Only to be released, and that would transfer it. Couldn't you try?
I don't think anybody's gonna have too much heartburn if that's.
Well,
what
an
the
escrow account would
decision
take both signatures to release it, so it'd be safe. But it would be off this year's budget. So what's the next step?
is. I think, well, if we're gonna think about it some more, number one, it'd be nice to know if there's any other lots, if we don't wanna start tearing that building down and doing that, putting money into the thing first. And then I think we should get prices from some other pole barn guys, like Fertile Builders, I don't know who around here.
I think the lumberyard in Carrington too.
Do
Built
they
a good
build pole
building. Yeah,
Udon, I mean, there's
There's a lot of them.
sure.
a lot of people that do it. Troy Brandvold in Macville, he's building pole barns for people.
Yeah. Certainly.
A building, if it's under a certain dollar amount, 50,000, isn't it, on building, or is it 100,000? Where you don't have to
100,000.
advertise, you just get quotes.
So do you need a motion to transfer that money over this,
Not
or we
right
do
now,
it tonight?
Until the end of the year.
Until the end of the year?
We need to decide.
Because we'll finalize the budget, I suppose, tonight.
That's for
Yeah, but this
19.
isn't
This
19's,
This would be coming on.
this is 18's budget.
But we're moving it into 19.
No, we just spend it into an escrow account out
Okay.
of this one, it'd be a lot simpler.
How do you want to do it?
Anything else for Wayne? Wayne, you got anything else for us?
I think so, just glad we didn't get any more snow.
I bet there were 6 inches in Macville.
They said.
It's really sloppy up there, boy. Trees, branches down all over town. Kind of a mess.
Yeah.
We don't do that township to the north anymore.
If anybody has any contractor or anybody that builds, if they could just email it to wayne.wayne@griggscounty.nd. That would be great. Get some suggestions.
Okay.
What is it, Wayne? Maybe I-
wayne.oyen@griggscountynd.gov.
Too hard, I'll text it to you.
There you go. Text it to me. 701-789-0364.
Got that.
They've got your number on speed dial.
Yeah.
4364.
All right.
I think it's Jeff you talked to, isn't it? Troy?
Huh?
Isn't it Jeff you talked to over there? Isn't that the owner?
Where at?
Fertile Building? Tim. Tim or Richard?
Then I suppose we should also talk a little bit then about how we want it built. I mean, they talk about 8 foot on center rafters or 4 foot on center rafters. So at least we're talking about the same kind of building.
Yeah, that's another thing they.
Well,
Mentioned.
all these pole buildings are gonna be engineered a little bit different. We're not gonna spec
Yeah.
them that close.
Yeah.
The only spec difference would be if you intend to finish the inside. So then it is gonna be, the rafter spacing's gonna be closer.
Well, and you'd put eaves on it too if you're gonna do that. Otherwise, you don't have any ventilation. But, so that decision needs to be made now too. But then you're gonna add
A lot of money to it.
$5,000-6,000 to the cost of the building.
Well, and then if you're gonna do that, then you have to insulate alongside the building and underneath the slab, I mean, there's a lot, he'll triple the price of the building.
Yeah, and it hasn't been insulated ever. You know, granted, with this DEF fluid, that's a little bit of an issue.
We can insulate an 8x8 room.
Having this, yep, be nice to have a bathroom and some running water there anyway. At least a hydrant, so they could wash something off if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we just take a little more time and think about what we want and what we need and move forward with it probably next year. See what lots, maybe there's more lots that will fit better for what we're gonna use it for.
Well, we don't really wanna move forward with it next year, we wanna do it in this year's budget. So we'll have to make the decision so that the money can be, we can decide who's gonna be able to, the money could be, an escrow account could be set up, the money could be transferred in there. Then even if it was finished next year, it was still paid
Okay.
for this year.
So you wanna start construction?
No, that doesn't matter,
Okay,
but granted, if we transfer the money, we didn't raise the levy, but we did raise the amount of money that we're spending in 19, and that we're locking in that amount right now too. So theoretically, that might be a little bit of a problem. But there's no problem doing it this other. We just need to decide what we want.
Right.
you know.
We just need some more prices.
yeah,
You know, I don't know how carried away we want to get.
No, I think it's just something to get it out of the weather. I think they're all,
Yep.
these new machines are plugged in, they heat everything, don't they?
They hit the fuel. I mean, not the
Hydraulics
fuel,
and-
but engine. And I think the depth fluid, there's a heater in that also.
Yeah,
Have
the
to be.
transmission.
So you're going down the road with it.
are you gonna have, you want an overhead door or do you want, trap door?
Yeah.
Overhead door?
That
Did
was-
they figure?
That was included. in
That was? How big a door?
12.6 by 16, I think.
That's it?
Mhm.
Only a 16-foot door?
Same as what these are here.
How
Yeah.
big was the building?
40 by 60.
No, height-wise.
12 feet.
12, 14, I think you said.
You gotta have
Well,
a
the building-
12-foot,
the
6-inch
building
door
inside
in a
is 14.
14-foot building.
Right.
14 foot
So you got
sidewall.
12.6 by the time you get that. 16-foot door, you probably wanna make those cement
I mean, they
columns
said there
next to
should
the
be, there has
doors.
to be cement underneath the door.
Cement columns next to the corners, so we don't have them.
Midland 16 foot by 12 foot. 3-inch energy saver door. Standard track, upper.
Okay.
I wouldn't put a 16-foot door in a 40-foot building, unless you're gonna put two of them in there.
Will they go in without taking the weight off it, the 16-foot door?
Go in. Pull it back in alongside. You know, a wider door would be better, of course.
An 18?
20 or something. Otherwise, you can't get anything in there along the wall.
Right.
No, right.
It's too far away from the corner. I made that mistake in my shop.
Like when he goes in now, he has to go in, then he has to cut the back end over and then get the front end over so he can get his.
That's what I have to do with my loader tractor now. Back in there and swing it. It'd be nice if you didn't have to do that.
So then you'd want to put the door over, way over to one side of the building, so you just back. straight in, and then you could pull it alongside it and have all the other room on the other side. Yep.
Correspond if you wanna get 2 machines in there, then if you would say you got another, the low payloaders up there or something.
Mm-hmm.
Then you should put 2 doors in.
What's that?
Then they should put 2 doors in.
Yeah.
They don't need to be insulated either if you're not gonna insulate the buildings.
Two
We're just
16-foot
hoping in
doors.
the future. it might-
Whatever.
Yeah.
We're just hoping in the future it might be, solar heat is improved and you can just use it. It's already insulated.
But if you don't put eaves and stuff on it, you're not gonna heat it anyway.
Yeah.
Because there's no way to ventilate the attic if you don't plan for it.
Can't put them on top, but,
Well, you gotta have vents on top, but you gotta bring the air from the bottom.
yeah.
Well, with the $37,000 or $39,000, we don't have a
Not
lot
gonna
to
get
work
too
with
carried
anyway,
away.
so
Yeah.
see if we can get the building put up.
See what they come with.
Okay.
Price it with both a 16 and a 24-foot door. Then you can get 2 machines. Right?
That's what I'd do. I put in a 20-foot door and mine's 45 feet wide and I wish it was a 25-foot
Yeah,
door.
24-foot, yeah. And then maybe make the building 16 tall and put a 14-foot door on it.
Yeah. See what the difference in price is anyway.
And I'm sure there's some time in the future where this stuff gets bigger,
Yeah, that's exactly right.
you know.
Okay. Thanks, man.
Thanks, man.
Thank you guys.
18 budget?
When I was going through the budget and stuff like that, I was kind of, when we were kind of looking at the comparison between social services and the rest of us, social services is going to be receiving full family next year. I was just hoping that you guys would consider offering that to the existing employees, the rest of us, since we are under the same building. You guys do have $360,849 in the reserve. Nothing was spent out of that in 2017. I do know that you
That's
guys.
not the 18 budget, that's 19 budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just has it labeled wrong.
Say what?
It's
Yeah.
just labeled wrong.
Right.
I'm looking at the agenda.
Right, she's labeled it wrong.
Sorry. Yeah.
Right.
Sorry. Yeah. It's supposed to be 19 budget.
We did it, we proposed it in 2019.
Right.
but-
Yeah.
They're not the county's employees.
They still are. They're not at state employees. They still are
No, I
Griggs
know.
County employees.
They're funded by the state though.
Yeah. It's just kind of, I feel like it's kind of a slap in the face, them being just down the hall and receiving that benefit, and we're not.
But it isn't this body that gave them the benefit, so we're not discriminating against you. We didn't do that.
I know.
And if it was up to us, me anyway, I wouldn't have. But again, we're not discriminating against any of you because we didn't have any part of that.
So this is like, you guys wouldn't consider offering that to the rest of us?
Well, I mean, it wasn't considered during the budget.
That's why I was just wondering, you guys, there was a motion to decrease that, but then it got increased with like the overage or whatever. So there, I felt like there was a little cushion in there, if you guys would consider that.
But that's gotta be part of our wage discussion, that can't be just a standalone decision, I don't think.
I mean, theoretically, that could be part of the discussion at the budget meeting if someone comes and would want to discuss that, why that was taking place. I mean, anything's open to discussion, but that should have been part of the planning for this budget.
Yeah, I just didn't bring it up until you guys went forward with the district with social
I
services.
understand.
And so-
But I mean, I'm quite sure that's for the next budget cycle.
We need more information. I have no idea what that would, what the repercussions of that would be.
And then,
It's gotta be huge, isn't it? I don't even know.
There's not that many employees that do have a family at this time.
I see.
But it,
So then-
it just
So
does.
then it wouldn't be fair to them.
Well, it's just a little incentive to kind of keep people here, and I mean, if
For
there's
discussion's sake, what does that do then to the people that don't have a family? Then are they compensated for the? I mean, if somebody has a family and they're receiving family health insurance, they're then, in essence, they're getting more compensation than the single person alongside them.
Absolutely.
I
So-
feel
so-
like
so
I
then
feel
it-
like it would just be a benefit. Like it's not. I'm not. The social services, they're not doing it like, okay, if you're not going to get a family, then we'll give you that much in your wages. It's just this is a benefit. You either take it or leave it. That's kind of the same with like a health insurance policy. Not everybody has a health insurance policy, but we don't give them that wages on top. If they don't take it, we don't give that to them.
That's why they went to singles and then salaries. They'd rather increase salaries and then everybody benefits out of that deal rather than just, if you were to do that.
Right. That would have to be, I mean, that's a little more difficult, not difficult. It's a more in-depth discussion than what we've got in front of us right now. I don't think we can really even get to that point, not at this point.
But it is a discussion that can be had next
It is.
budget cycle.
But the people that only need singles should advocate for just more wages.
The difference between certainly the difference between a single membership and
Right.
single policy and a group policy should be made up. Otherwise, we're discriminating against the.
No, you don't, that's
No.
not typically how that's done, John.
No.
When I worked at Nodak, I was single for a long, long time. So I costed Nodak $240 a month for my insurance, and the next guy got a family plan. Well, I didn't get compensated for that.
Yeah.
So then, when all this health insurance got so out of hand, like at the bank now, he pays a single for everybody. That's it. But I don't take it because I'm on my wife's insurance, but I don't get compensated for it. So it's just tough luck. That's why I said if you have an employee group, everybody's getting a single now, so everybody's got the same benefit. And a group of people that want the family benefit,
They take the difference.
if we make that decision based on what that group wants, the rest of them are gonna pay because it's gonna affect their salary
Yeah.
going forward,
Yeah.
so.
At Finley Farmers?
So we shouldn't have the discussion, Sam, we moved the opposite direction you wanted us to move.
Well, we did come last year and kind of asked for that, like, the insurance was raising this much, could we get that raised? Mine would go towards health insurance, everybody, somebody that didn't have a family could go towards something else. And
But we have a very high deductible, so I think our deductible's like $2,700 or something. So
You pay everything all year then.
I used it this year because I had that.
Yeah, sure.
I had an MRI earlier this year, and then I had that surgery 3 weeks.
They also run out of half an HSA too, don't they?
Yeah, but you put your own money in there. I think. Yeah, pretty sure. They put some in there when they switched to this very high deductible, but then I think you're on your own. And we have the HSA at the bank too.
Anything else?
We missed one item on the department heads with the courthouse hours and time clock.
Time clock?
Yeah.
So the rest of the 2019, budget, you guys do have a budget hearing tonight at 6:00.
Right.
Sorry if you guys forgot about that.
No, you sent us an email.
Yep.
We didn't want to forget about it.
So that
Said special meeting, all right on.
Okay. So, social service is gonna use a time clock and a program associated with that also does all the FICA taxes and does everything. So you punch the time clock and then it will figure, for the hours worked, it will figure all the different things that need to be taken note of it.
Yeah, but Sam makes it way more complicated than that.
Well, I know, but it would take a lot of burden off of Sam having to do that work. This thing would do it for her. And Mary offered to let the county tag on to that program.
It's a subscription, isn't it?
Yeah,
Oh, it is, it's software as a service?
yeah,
It's a web-based deal?
yeah. So then she wouldn't have to figure any of all the different social security, and it does everything for her. It spits it all out based on.
That's like a Intuit program or something?
I don't know. Don't know what program.
I did contact Kelly Hornstein with Dakota Programs regarding this, and I did ask him if there was a time clock system that could be built right into Dakota Programs, and he said no, there's no such option into payroll at this time. And he said,
But Dakota Programs doesn't calculate your payroll, does it?
mm-hmm. Yeah, we do payroll all through Dakota Programs.
I thought you had you guys just kind of back into it, don't you? You put everybody on salary.
Some people, yeah, are on salary. And that makes Dakota Programs a lot easier. But yes, when we get everybody's timesheet or whatever, then we go in and make sure that it's all right. Christie's isn't salary, hers is hourly, so we'd have to put her numbers in and stuff like that. But it's all done within Dakota Programs.
I see.
Yep. This might not make a whole lot of sense. It's kind of confusing. Kelly talks big words. Bob could write a program to update payroll if the time clock proceeds or could produce a computer file, preferably a text file. I assume this would be for hourly workers. And so it would basically, I would have to have like basically 4 different files for one employee. Like it would just be really complicated, he was saying. For every code that somebody has, it would be like a whole nother system or something, he was saying.
Well, I'm sure it wouldn't interface, it wouldn't talk very nice to something more as modern as Intuit, this thing.
Dakota Programs payroll is actually, they updated it, so it's web-based. No, it's not as old as the Dakota Programs.
It doesn't run on our server?
Yep, it runs on our server, but it's like we put
It's
up,
not web-based.
it's on a browser.
Oh,
Like, we get pulled up to a browser.
you go to Internet Explorer and go through a portal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then it's
That.
then it's not running on our server in our building.
Okay.
It's running in somebody else's, in some data center someplace.
Okay.
It's called software as a service.
See, I'm an auditor. I'm not.
But anyway,
Anyhow,
yeah.
so how does that talk to this then? Talk to the Dakota Programs?
A time clock.
No,
Oh.
your payroll software.
Somehow we transfer it into Dakota Programs. We
So
transfer a
you-
file and
you
then it.
download a common delimited file
I don't.
or a text file or a something file. So who pulls it in?
Maddie.
Who?
Madison.
She pulls it in, the payroll into Dakota Programs. Okay.
Yeah.
So Dakota Programs has written a routine to handle that file structure.
Right, and so Travis is the one setting up this for the social services,
Right.
and he said it would mesh into our system also.
onto our network, but not necessarily talk to Dakota Programs.
Don't. And that program had the ability to designate between salaried employees and hourly employees.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it does.
So, yeah. So I think it'd be, before we make a decision, we should have Travis and Mary come and talk to us and see how that would work. And if it would work.
You might need Kelly too. Ultimately, it's gotta end up in the Dakota program somehow.
Unless we just get a sheet of paper and then,
And
and then it's
manually
basically
put it in,
exactly
right.
how it is
Right.
right now. The department head would have to sign it and get it to
You could
us.
manually put, if you had the numbers, you could manually put it in. Not preferable, but that would be, you could do that. It would, yeah.
Okay.
But over our head, let's next meeting, let's have Travis and come and talk to us about it. Maybe it's not workable.
Well, you can do anything you want if you got enough money to make it work.
Yeah, but not if you make it more complicated than it already is.
Yeah, it might not be advisable.
So the road department employees, are they treated as hourly or are they treated as salaried?
They're treated salary.
Salaried, that's what I thought, okay.
Yep.
But they're really not salaried employees.
No, they're hourly employees. Yep, yep,
That's what I meant.
yep. We just make it so that there's less room for errors is all that we do.
Old courthouse, new courthouse?
I got one more question. If they're treated as salary employees, then how do we pay overtime?
Wayne gives us that.
I know, but how do we do that? If they're treated as a salary employee, how do we pay overtime because
No,
a
they're-
salary employee?
They're hourly employees, but we take their
I know you do, you take your 37.5 hours and you compute it out to be the salary.
40. They're
Yeah.
40. But yeah, then we get a salary amount and just put that in there. So their paycheck is the same. But they're hourly employees, so they would get overtime.
Yeah, I'm not saying they shouldn't get overtime,
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
trying to get in my head how we calculate that.
Because when we figure out the salary for the year, or the 2-week period, they come up with an hourly wage
Mm-hmm.
for each person. So then if they work an extra hour or whatever, then I fill out a sheet that says they worked an extra hour for $5 an hour. And
Which then raises their salary for that tough period.
Right. Yep. Yep. They have it. They have another.
Well, you do make it complicated.
Sorry.
That's what I said. It's way more complicated than it needs to be.
Yeah. So
Then
it's
they
not
have
a-
another
It's
earnings.
not a fixed salary. This is a variable salary.
Their salary is in there, and then any
I got it.
overtime is paid without
I
retirement.
got
So
it.
then that would be in there.
I got it. Yeah, we need a new system. Simplify it for you.
I think most of these standalone payroll systems are pretty flexible as to what their output is. I mean, the lady at the bank that does payroll uses a standalone program
Yep.
and uploads it into
Mhm.
our core software. But I think they're pretty open architecture on the output end of those things because they want to be able to talk to as many different kinds of software as possible. Otherwise, they can't sell their wares, you know.
Ours talks to Microsoft, you know. and-
Right. So we'll have to learn more. When I talked to you yesterday, what did I say we should have on the agenda? Oh, that it was under Wayne, wasn't it? It wasn't new courthouse, old courthouse.
No, it's the building, shop building. Mark was going to talk to Trish Brocker.
And she said that she'd take a look and see, we were talking about that, investigating those lists of what it would cost for us to do certain things on that.
Oh, yeah.
And she said she'd take she knows people that do that virtual deal.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
so she said
How
she
did you
could.
find her?
Well, I was
Just by
approaching-
accident, or
Yeah.
what?
I was approaching somebody else and she was standing listening. She says, I know people that do that. She said,
That's funny.
and it sounds like he's got a real interest in it.
Okay.
In the, he said, we only get one chance at this thing and then it's gonna be gone, so we wanna make sure we do it right.
Oh, cool.
Oh, did you get a letter from the DOT as far as recertifying our maintenance? Because I got an email that said we're gonna send a letter to you.
I have not received anything.
And certification for our federal aid roads. Every year we do that, we say that we're
Compliant.
federal aid roads are supposed to be. There should have been an email, I think.
Oh, should I have gotten it this week?
I've gotten it this week.
Okay. No, I would have asked you about it. Unless Maddie got it today.
But it can be signed next time.
So did we contact Ronald Ramsey, the Associate Professor of Architecture at NDSU?
No.
Well, that's who they recommended here, and they would use it as a course project, so it probably wouldn't cost us anything.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's a whole list of different things on that thing.
Yeah, well,
Not necessarily that all of them we'd have to do.
no,
That's why we're trying to
it's a
figure out.
negotiation. The
Yeah.
state's gonna say you need this, and we're gonna say we can do this, and it's going
Yep.
back and forth until somebody finally says,
Yep.
good. But don't you think the start would be to talk to this Associate Professor of Architecture at NDSU?
Either
Yeah.
way. Start anywhere you want on the list, I suppose.
Well, I mean, then they make it a course project. I mean, they would have
Sure.
all kinds of people and equipment.
Sure.
And
Sure.
being that's who the State Historical Society recommends, that's probably easier to get that through than anything.
Sure.
Yeah.
And maybe not just one of those things they're gonna want us to do. Maybe they're gonna want 3, 4 of them done. We don't know.
But let's start with their person
Okay.
and say, okay, here's what we want to do. What do you think should be done?
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll have a tough time arguing with their own person. Maybe. Or maybe
Unless they like to.
Okay. I'm just gonna have to start have meetings in the courtroom again so people come and yell at us. Is a budget meeting in here?
No. Oh, where is it gonna be? Here, yeah,
Here.
sorry, yeah, here.
I had Tom bury a building for me this week. Johnson said that he'd still do the courthouse for whatever he quoted the last commission.
30,000.
Yeah.
I wonder if you get it torn down before someone had him in handcuffs.
Oh, I bet.
He's pretty quick.
Timing was right the right day.
On a cloudy day.
I did it in the fall.
Snowstorm.
Collapse.
But I think his offer was he would tear it down if the county provided somewhere to put it.
Yeah.
That could be too. I got a big crevice in a ravine out west east of town here.
We have a shop building that's gonna be used for storage.
There you go.
Wayne's got some land northeast of Binford, a big hole in, can't we?
There.
I've got a hole there you could probably fill in by hydrant.
Yeah.
Use
Probably
it-
not.
Also black dirt.
Use it for riprap.
No one would notice there.
You know, you got in trouble for doing that. You can't use building
Oh,
materials
that's
as
right, yeah,
riprap.
'cause the snails
Used it
might
in
die in the
drainage.
water.
At one point in time, all that was rock before they made
You
it.
can't even use rock that is above ground for
That's right.
You can't move a rock pile and use it for riprap anymore.
Doesn't that have to be washed before it's placed too? Some,
No, it's gotta be virgin, come from underground.
but I mean, it
Has to
can't,
be
isn't it
mined.
supposed to not have any dirt?
Can
on
we
it?
bury it? How long does it have to be underground before?
Yeah, it
it's
doesn't say
considered-
that. Doesn't say that, bury a bunch of it.
Yeah.
Recycled
Yeah.
virgin rock.
A gold mine, this one pile is right there.
I'll tell you what, if that ever catches on, those hills between Binford and Jesse there are a gold mine. It's solid rock.
Yeah.
Rock's worth more than gravel.
And west of Red Willow. Well, let's see, it's solid rock there.
Yeah.
Someday they're gonna want more rock in the gravel. That's why it's worth more.
Fog goes away, I hope.
Yeah. Get some bids and next meeting maybe get some done.
I know these guys talked about the width apart, wasn't it, on the,
Yeah,
you know, he said
9
there's,
feet.
somebody makes them cheaper, does them cheaper, you know, but their distance between,
The width of the building determines how far
Yeah.
apart the poles
because they
are.
had, some are 9 foot or some are 7 or whatever it was, and
6 would probably be the preferred post width on a 40-foot building.
My little Morton building's 30 by 62, so they're 9 foot.
Right.
If you go farther, wider, then they shorten up.
But you go 56 or 62. You know. Go 8 feet. And, I think you want a double header. You won't put in a single header.
all right.
See what they recommend for the snow load.
Okay.
6-foot post spacing and raffle spacing makes it easier to finish the, if you want to put,
Yeah, that's what they said.
if you want to put something on the inside of it, you know, whether it be plywood or whatever it is, it's easier if you have it less than 8 foot.
And I think you want to do a wing too. So if you hit it with a mower or whatever, you just have to replace a short piece of tin instead of a 16-foot piece of tin.
Sorry, there's
Jeff's careful with the mower. He pushes it anyway.
With the wing, they're
That's why we're putting the cement post next to the door.
I felt when you did that, you put a big post.
Then you don't
Yeah,
replace
you do.
Then you don't replace tin, you replace the whole wall.
Yeah.
That's why the bigger door is better. All right,
See you, Wayne.
So I told them in Finley elevators that at first they didn't have cement columns in front of them eyes.
Oh,
And I said, you gotta put them in or I'm gonna clean them off one day, sure as the dickens, so. It wasn't long when they had the cement columns in the front, I think they got.
Thank you.
So now they still work, they get hit and they just turn them on the post and they turn them back again and.
yeah.
Future business? You guys got anything you can think of for next budget or agenda? No?
Update maybe on the crack seal? See how we're coming along with that?
Put that on under Wayne next time?
Wayne, okay.
And he didn't necessarily have to come, if he just gives us an update in his office report.
Anything else?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Been moved by Sean to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Meeting adjourned at 2:20 PM. Next meeting will be a special meeting at 6 PM this evening. And the next regular meeting will be Friday, October 19th at 1 PM in this room.